Hello, and welcome to the Oracle Report for the month of March 2026. So happy to have you here. Thank you for joining today. Welcome to those that are joining here for the first time, and I hope you all find something supportive and valuable. So, I offer the Oracle Report every month. Typically, at the end of the month, we're a little bit late this month. Um, that eclipse, push things back a little bit, but that's okay. Typically, I record this at the end of every month, ready for the first of the month, in order to support folks with different collective wisdoms and messages that I've gathered through a couple of different places, mostly from channeled messages, but also through dream messages, different themes that are coming forward from readings or classes that I'm teaching, things that folks are experiencing, or ceremony, and sometimes astrology as well. And the intention is to call upon information that will support you. It will help align you in the upcoming month so that you can be in your fullest expression. Um, I always welcome folks to listen to past oracle reports as well, even though these are geared towards collective messages for the specific month. There are always some timeless wisdoms that are shared, and I would suggest that you use your intuition if you feel called to listen to a past episode. See which one is vibrating or a little bit more alive for you and what it might have to offer. Maybe you even know which point in that oracle report you want to listen to. That can be kind of fun. You can send yourself a message by choosing an oracle report and choose a certain time to start listening and see what it might have to say for you. So I start every oracle report by pulling a card for the collective, and this is a card that we'll kind of dive into some information and wisdom for the collective. Today, we are pulling from the Isis Oracle by Alana Fairchild. And after that, I will go into a couple of the different themes and wisdoms that have come forward. And oftentimes they weave in quite nicely to whatever card we pulled as well. Um, I also share the Oracle card on Sacred Lights, which is a community that has some wonderful teachings and it's a trove of information, and you can sign up for free. There are some paid offerings on Sacred Lights, but you can get a free base level membership to access the Oracle reports there or on YouTube. You can also see the full descriptions of the cards that I pull, and I have a couple classes that I house there as well, and a few other free videos. Okay, so keep in mind that everything that's shared are intended as collective messages, so they will apply to us all in different ways. And I just invite you to receive what resonates for you, and release the rest. Some of it might make sense later, some of it might make sense in really kind of like fun and creative ways. Spirit does that a lot to us. um, yeah, so just allow yourself to receive in whatever unique way is meant for you. And a lot of times there's much happening underneath more than the words that I'm saying. There's energetic transmissions, and your guides will work with you to help unlock whatever is meant for you from today. Okay, so let's get started by pulling a card. Okay. We have Temple of Carnelian, entering the fierce belly of Sekhmet. I like that. That does indeed um, connect to some of the themes for this month, particularly the theme of authority and power and accessing that through our solar plexus, coming into our own true authority and how we find that in the world. So I'll share more about that, but first let's read a bit from the card. And these cards, they share rituals. There's an incantation, I believe, that goes along with each card. So I won't get into that in entirety, but if you'd like to read it and play with it, just check out Sacred Lights and you'll be able to see the full description. Sometimes I also post these on my Instagram, so you can find it there. Okay, Temple of Carnelian, entering the fierce belly of Sekhmet. You have such strength within you. It is time to trust in your own boldness and courage, taking risks that feel true to your heart and engaging in practices that make you feel genuinely and truly alive, embodied, and more of yourself, even if not always comfortable, are going to help you live the life you were born to live. In the fierce belly of Sekhmet, the lion-headed sister of Isis, the Egyptian goddess of passion, courage, and fire, there is no room for procrastination, self-doubt, or turning back. She urges you on to your high destiny, calling you to believe, keep going, reach higher, and expand wider. You can do so knowing that the Temple of Carnelian will bring you warm strength, encouragement, and deep trust in your own body wisdom to guide you through any situation or relationship that may arise to test you, so that you can grow into more of your own magnificent being. This oracle calls you to have the courage of your convictions, to have faith in yourself and your process. I love that too. All connects. To be fearless as you are assured of victory. Sekhmet will not be defeated. Okay. I was going to stop there, but actually, I really like this next sentence, so I'm going to say that. If you're concerned that you're biting off more than you can chew, or are not sure about the path you are taking, if you are up to the standard, or if you will ever gain the recognition that you feel you deserve, then know that as you enter the Temple of Carnelian into the fire belly of the lion-headed priestess, you shall be guided to success. Sekhmet comes alive with boldness, her power grows with courage, and her fire will burn bright in your life as passion, success, and victory. Okay, so I'm going to pause there, and if you want to read the rest, please come check it out. There's a lot more good stuff here too. But I really love how much that connects to some of the messages that came forward. So let's get into those. um, I suppose we'll start with one of the messages that was really loud and makes sense as we have now stepped into the year of the fire horse. So we're working with the energies of fire, of power, of authority, of strength, and I think there's this massive clearing that's coming in with this. And in order for it to be wholesome, it must have a certain amount of grounding, is part of the message that was coming through. We need to, this isn't like a wildfire, or it's not meant to be a raging fire, but it's meant to be a warm, bright, centered, grounded fire that's in service to truth, that's in service to love. If we just let it like run rampant out in the world or within us, we're just like, yeah, go. It can get out of balance. So part of the message that was coming forward is starting to reflect on, where in our own lives, where just in yourself might your fire get out of balance? Might you start to feel yeah, like passionate or bold in a way that wasn't in right relationship with the energy of fire and with the energy of your own soul essence and that power that exists within you, like where your true, real authority comes from. And with all that's being stirred up in the world, it can get easy to get fiery or passionate or just like want to charge and fix things, or just like yell and stand up. And that is one way to work with our fire and to be bold and courageous. But there's a transformation that's coming through this fire that allows us to not just feed the wildfires of that passion that comes forward, but to know how to use it with wisdom, with grounded wisdom, to embody it. And yeah, there were a couple of suggestions in how we could do that. One of them is it's kind of like balancing out that fire with a lot of rest and um, listening. Listening in particular to our own center and listening for our own truth. And when we don't have an answer yet, not needing to fill in the space, but instead just giving more spaciousness. Because everything that needs to will emerge as we do that. So, okay, I think I have a little bit more to say on that, but I'm just going to shift gears and more will come through in a moment. All right. So, one of the messages that was coming through is basically that there are some orientations in our collective and perspectives in our collective that are particularly about like right and wrong that we're working on and that are being cleared. Um, Spirit phrased it as like the goal is for everyone to remember or to wake up. And this waking up while we're here in the dream of life, while we're in this body, remembering where like who we truly are beyond this body. Um, and it's a process that we have to show up to like constantly every day. But the goal being that for us to do that, many of us have almost hardened, this is what I was receiving, perspectives about what that means. You know, it's like what that means to us and what that means in a global perspective or just in a communal perspective. Like if someone is awakened or remembered, they would this, or if I was, I would this. And this was like these certain perspectives or beliefs about what awakening is and our experience with awakening so far, because we've already been through a lot of several stages in this incarnation, of course, many stages of awakening and remembrance in other lifetimes and other experiences. But just here, we've already been through some, so it's not like totally fresh. And as we've gone through that, it's almost like we have certain expectations. We're like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. And then what can happen is like um, it could start to get stale. Um, and during this time of year, with in the northern hemisphere with spring coming, we get this natural revitalization, rebirth that's happening anyway. And there's some extra energy for us to lean into that to transform and shift. And one of the things that Spirit was calling to shift to look at is just this perspective of like what do I think it means to be awakened? And do I start judging others' remembrance and awakening, or, is it more about like healthy boundaries and discernment? When I'm looking at others and saying what's right and wrong, or looking at myself and saying what's right and wrong. Not that it's right or wrong to say it's right and wrong or to find our morals, but there's a call and a space to go a little bit deeper and align how we choose to walk and how we choose to be in the world in a deeper way to our truth and love, which is like this is really how we wake up. It's through the energy of us connecting to our soul, to the frequency of truth and love. And everyone has their own unique journey and accessing and birthing that, rebirthing that during the springtime or even beyond. It's not like one belief or one perspective that is going to wake people up or wake us up. And it's also something that's a process. So even though we might have woken up in the past, we have to keep waking up. We have to keep going through the cycles because here we are alive and we have to trust these cycles. And there's this kind of question of, am I embodying love? Am I feeling love? Am I coming from that place in my actions? Or am I more in a place of judgment or fear? You know, it's like fear of how things are going to go or what we're seeing in the world or yeah, our place within all of that. And how can we come back to the authority that lives within us that is rooted in love and live from there with deep trust in it because it's enough. Love is enough to move you through this life that you have chosen to take, that you have chosen to dance. See if there's anything more on that. Yeah, there was this one piece around this about kind of healing and allowing the transformation, in particular with certain beliefs and perspectives that we have about, you know, what is the right thing and what is the wrong thing? What does it mean to be awakened, or spiritually evolved or enlightened or you know, whatever it is for us? Um, how can we come back to compassion in this? And this will help us in transforming that into the next stage of the journey for us. Because this will always be evolving, we'll always be relating to everything that we relate to in life, including, you know, what's right and wrong. But since there are some big shifts happening in the world, it's important for us to um, work with them, you know, work with what spirit is moving through the earth, work with the earth, work with the elements, work with humanity, work with our own soul essence. And we need to show up to that and not think, oh, I've arrived, I'm done. But just continually allowing ourselves to be moved through life. Um, we can only ever arrive when we choose to land in our center. So coming back to that like power and authority and the light that's in our belly, it's from there that we can garner our safety. And no matter what's happening with what the movements are in the outside world, or even the results that we see, the success comes from there. From, hey, I'm owning my authority and power, and I know that everything I'm doing is in service to the higher good because I'm aligned to that. And that's where my safety lies, no matter, you know, which part of the cycle we're in or which part of the process we're in. And we don't need to like stop showing up, you know, or did I say that right? It's kind of a double negative. We allow ourselves to keep showing up, to keep working these things over because that's what life is. It's a movement, you know, it's this organic transformational process, and especially this time right now. To hop to that message, I suppose. Those of you who know me or you know, have read the book that I just contributed to the Magdalene Oracle, you probably have heard at some point, maybe not necessarily, of yeah, my understanding about the rebirth of the divine feminine right now on Earth that is happening, this kind of goddess rebirth. And I love how this message drops in now. It's just so perfect, you know? It's like sometimes I really couldn't I can't make this up. I can't orchestrate this as perfectly as the divine does it. But the reason I'm saying that is because this message, I mean, even though it's a part of me every time I come on here and speak, it's been a part of me my whole life. I will continue to talk about it. Um, it's pertinent right now, and right now we have like the birth of spring. So the rebirth of the divine feminine aligning with the birth of spring, the the fire horse coming in. And I work with the goddess Soul a lot. This is Soul back here. And she represents many things, but one of them is like the fire in our belly and the feminine sun. So going back to ancient cultures, there are many ancient cultures that actually considered the sun to be feminine. And this is, you know, just in my direct relationship. I don't really have a, it has to be this way, or it should be the sun is feminine or the sun is masculine. I'm not attached to any of that, but my own information that's come in through my whole life and through working with the goddess Soul is that there are pieces of wisdom that we used to carry. And this was a time for many cultures around the world where this wisdom was anchored, where we saw the sun as feminine. And there are also many cultures who have prophesized or talked about this moment in time, the divine feminine being reborn and taking over. So I see that we are connecting to pieces of our soul, our inner essence, our fire, and we are each choosing to give birth to what is forming here through ourselves first. And this is how I see this kind of rebirthing of the divine feminine. We all have a role, and she is kind of uh, it's like the goddess that presides over the world is shifting and transforming and calling us, leading us. And I see like the fire horse as part of that, and I see the spring as part of that, and it all lines perfectly. Even though we have spring every year, there's like something extra this year for working with these layers because we've just been through a couple of years of some great transformation. And now it's time to just step in even deeper. You know, there may have been a period recently where some folks might have lost hope, or you might be experiencing that now. But the thing is, it's like the energy of life, the power of transformation, the power of the divine, of love, of truth. It's like it's eternal. It will always come back. It can't go anywhere, you know? And if you are one of those people who has struggled with knowing your place or struggled with hope for the future, I want you to, yeah, I just want you to hear that the power of transformation is, it's eternal, and it's like non-contestable. It will move one way or another. And like, do you want to work with it? Do you want to believe in it? And there's also something that was coming through around here is like that all of the energy that gets released through things in our world that might seem destructive or harmful, even all of that gets shaken up and released can be used for new creation. And that's part of like the cycles of life. There is like destruction and creation. And it's not always necessarily a bad thing, but we are eternal through those cycles of life. So it's like, again, how do we come back to that center, remembering our eternity, that eternal light inside of us, so we can act and be from there. And then we don't have as much of feeling powerless or feeling hopeless or not knowing what to do, not knowing how to participate in life or how to be. not knowing how to return to that eternity, even. Okay. Yeah, and with this kind of extra boost call of healing and transformational energy available, rebirth energy available, think about what in your life are you releasing? What energy has been released from what has been let go or destroyed or turned over in your life? And maybe even think about which things that you can consciously release or destroy to create new energy. And only what feels, entirely true to you go forward. But be watchful of the places that come from fear. Like, I don't want to let this thing go because, um, yeah, because I'm afraid. I just don't know if there's like something new for me or that. And then also watching for those moments where we kind of push past the correct timing because we want so bad to be healed, to be whole, to move on, to move forward, which is also really rooted in fear. It's not trusting the process. So this kind of like, how can I be open to participate in highest service through releasing what no longer serves, through opening to the new, to allowing the healing and the transformation that's moving through me personally right now to move and to guide me and to trust it. How can I lean into it more, work with it? Um, Okie dokie. Yeah, and in this too, I think there's a bit of a call to connect with the goddess, to connect with the divine feminine that is it's like presiding over the transformation of you and of the earth right now. It's like, how can you open more fully to her transformational process? Because traditionally, the goddess, she like is transformation. She is life. She's the one who's allowed us to be in the cycles of life, death, and rebirth and transformation. Without her, we'd just be, I mean, we already are whole. That's what the whole journey shows us, really, among many other things. It's like that we're always going to be whole, but we wouldn't be able to have the experience otherwise, to go through those cycles without her. So she presides over healing and transformation. So when we open up to her and listen, we can get more, like we'll be able to claim our own way in what's meant for us and like how this transformation can move through us in the most healing way, and not only for us, but our family and friends and community in the world. And that's all we really have to do. There was a big message this month to listen to, because even though we're working with fire and we're rebirthing and transforming and reclaiming, again, going back to this like embodied, grounded, um, soften into like rest, go to the dream space, just lay on the earth, just bring your attention to your solar plexus and listen. Because without that connection first, like without going into the bear cave and coming back home to ourselves, we don't have the nourishment, we don't have the clarity, we don't have the guidance to know how to move in the world. And then things can tend to spiral more often. We need that in order to work with this fire of transformation, of reclaiming our soul in an embodied way, right? Like we can't really reclaim it here on the earth if we're not doing it in an embodied way. We can't reclaim whatever um, wisdoms we had in the past that are asking for us to birth them forward and reclaim them through ourselves, not just through like reading a book, but this is through our embodied experience or creating pathways of light. And that is like the remembrance rather than, like remembering in your mind. Um, oh, so, okay, I forgot where I was going with that. Rabbit holes. Okay. Yeah. Embodied spirit, earthly um, steps, and finding like the grounding of the nervous system, and maybe even, yeah, with the weather getting warmer, at least around here, and I'm imagining where you are as well, getting outside more and allowing that to just shift you, because when we're in nature, our bodies shifts and we come more easily back into remembrance, back into harmony. Like she's right there outside waiting for us all the time. um, okay, let's see what else. Yes. So there are portals opening for greater impact in your healing and transformation. And this is like, especially as we get a little further on in March, where there is potential to, just by being aware that, oh, hey, I have a little bit of extra oomph, a little extra energy for healing and transformation and reclaiming my soul, my authority, my power. Um, just by being aware of that, you start to invite it in more, but you can even do so consciously through your intention, through saying like, okay, what am I letting go of? How am I making space for the new? What is my personal way with healing and transformation? What does the goddess or my own soul want to birth through me this month? And listening about what that is, what steps you're meant to take. And yeah, we can't, just remembering that you have extra support for it this month. So yeah, receive it. See what's there for you. What things are you ready to let move? And just trust that you'll know, trust that the whole process is laid out. All you need to do is tune in, just relax, go around and listen. Um, And they talked about sort of like the reorientation I was talking about earlier with perspectives and beliefs that is happening, particularly ones connected to right and wrong. There is like, there's a new opportunity with healing because sometimes, you know, I mean, all right, like in birth, when a baby is being born, their head rocks back and forth. And we do this too as humans with healing and with transformation. And we might seem like we're going backwards, but actually it's just, every time we're going a little bit further forward. And then there's also, so this is part of like the natural cycle of birth and transformation and life and remembering. But there are almost like moments where we could feel a little bit stuck. It's like, all right, well, we're not in that natural cycle anymore, and the healing has become dry. The transformation doesn't feel alive. We've kind of lost it. And this like perspective shift that's going on, that we're all working on with like belief and right and wrong, it's allowing us to have like um, to like clear whatever's getting stuck is being cleared out. And also we just have through this like a longevity of the healing. It's not something that's like not anchored, because we're called to like ground it, embody it, show up to it, not just like, oh, I had this like amazing experience and then you kind of go back to where it's comfortable. But we want to have longevity in our healing, lasting shifts in our consciousness, basically, because that's what all healing is that it's like a shift in our consciousness. But we want ones that last, because if it's only like temporary like that, then is it really healing? You know, or is it just kind of like a momentary experience or vision. It's not true remembering, true healing unless we're anchoring it, unless we're grounding it, unless we're embodying it. And all that work we're doing is allowing us to do that in a deeper way. And not to say that we did anything wrong in the past, because again, it's just like we're in the cycles. And now this is what we need to show up to right now. Um, so let's clear the way so we can truly be there, so we can allow that lasting shift in consciousness to happen. Um, and where it might have seemed like humanity as a whole was going forward, has shifted their consciousness, and maybe it seems like they're pulling back, don't let that get you down. It can be part of the cycle, and what I want you to choose to do is work with the energies that are here so you're not in a place that's stuck, so you don't let it consume you, that you stay centered and just show up to what is being asked of you right now. So that will keep us in that natural cycle and moving forward in our collective human shift in consciousness and earth shift in consciousness, and all the beings that are here. It's like we're all shifting together. Okay. There's also a mention this month about like one thing in particular that you could take your attention to and just see if there's anything that needs to be released here. But there was talk about like a collective attachment to drama. I feel like this might have come up before, but being cautious about being drawn in. So again, going back to like the right and wrong thing, but there was this like I can see it as these threads as I was hearing about it. And this thread of the morals and like what is right and wrong and who's right and wrong and what we're supposed to be doing, and all of that starts to actually like feed the dramas of division rather than unity. And we can get like, yeah, we can get righteous, and sometimes we are right, but that right comes from within you, from your connection to your essence, and it shows you the way. And there's really no need to like attack another or even judge them. There are needs sometimes to stand in your authority and what you believe in, and that's okay. And there are needs sometimes to set boundaries and say what you don't want to put your energy in service to. But where's the line of where that starts to be this kind of like monster of drama and monster of like division and victim perpetrator dances, and that really starts to pull you away from your light, not closer to it. And yeah, it's like Sekhmet's fire reminds us, she like reflects for us, like, oh yeah, I have that within me. And this is how I can show up to it strong in my light rather than like feeding the drama, which keeps everything kind of entangled. And you can just even go into it in like an energetic sense to visualize like, all right, where in my energy field might there be like attachment to drama? I welcome in healing to these places. I welcome in any wisdom that wants to come forward about this. Or you could think about it mentally, just start going through, or am I? Or is there any way that I feed that? And how can I stay in my center of authority, not going unconscious? How can I participate in the way that feels true to me? Feels like it's coming through from my center, and it's rooted, grounded in love. What do I need to be there? um, okay, so another big message that was coming through. I've already sort of started to say this, but leaning into faith in ourselves. So again, coming back to that light that is within us, maybe spending some extra time on the personal sun that's inside of your belly this month and offering it some of your attention and just the spaciousness to witness it and allow it to be, allow it to talk to you, to tell you how to move in the world. Faith in yourself. It's forming and it's starting to build, and we have extra energy for that. And then faith in the process. that we will be guided to our own personal success. And this is something else that they were talking about is being cleared away, is just our different ideas of like what power is, who is successful, um, what all of those things mean, because there's a huge reorienting happening that is a bit more in alignment with truth, with our souls, and we're the ones who call that back in through ourselves first. Um, I think there's one more thing along those lines. Just wanna, what was it? Hmm. Yeah, it might have been about around power and authority, and just that there are certain perspectives and beliefs that are shifting around that as well. So, as I was saying, just like what is success and what is power, but also this like perspectives that, mm, kind of as I was talking about before, like we need the grounding, we need the embodied, we need the nourishment, the kind of coherent, calm. It's like we need that kind of a fire. Like how can we hold those together? And previously we've thought that it's just like, fire is go out and fight and courage and passion and like that, yeah, it's there, it's needed sometimes, but Spirit is just talking about like shifting some of our perspectives about what that is so that we can embody our true essence more fully. And we all go through these cycles of our relationship with our true essence in order to know it, to know ourselves, to come into gnosis. So what a beautiful thing. Um, okay. Yep. And then this last message, I've essentially already said it, but um, what is your part as a healer or a light warrior? What is your part on earth right now? What is your part to transform in yourself and in your community? How are you going to show up in a new way? What's forming? Maybe start to allow yourself the vision of what is transforming and what you're stepping into, and have the courage, because it might not be what you've thought was right for a while or what the world thought was right. But if it's feeling true to you and it's not harming anyone, trust it. Have the courage to just listen, to keep walking with it, to unfold it, because there is something that you are meant to bring forward. And is it grounded in love? Allow yourself to act and be from this love, from the truth that is the essence of you, that is constantly here guiding and informing you. Okay. And with that, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate you listening through, and I'm wishing you a beautiful, fulfilling, easeful rebirth and transformation of March. And I will see you next month. Take care.